You can go anywhere without speaking a language and you'll be able to communicate with these people. AI will do the heavy lifting for you. If you say, I want to learn business German, it will teach you business German. Over the next 6 to 12 months, we'll see a plethora of products being released that will basically act as our personal customized tutors. But with this type of AI, within 6 to 12 months, we'll see apps be able to listen to what you're saying and then specifically correct you. Cool, let's do something new. Today I received a message from Lieselotte Burgi. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And if I'm not mistaken, she is a German teacher, or at least she works. Yes, so she has a company called Duidelijk Duits, which is aimed at training, I guess, Dutch people mostly in the usage and the mastery of professional German language. And she asked me some questions in regards to artificial intelligence and the future of language acquisition or learning new languages. So I decided to answer her questions to the best of my ability, of course. I am not a prophet. I don't have a telephone line into the future. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I can make some extrapolations based on my knowledge of today's world, and I can share my expectations. So she had a couple of questions. Actually, she had 4 questions for me, 5 even, and I will just do my very best to answer them, and hopefully it will be useful to you guys as well. Of course, before I get started, I need to do something which I've never done before, and that's I need to ask you to go and like and subscribe if you like my content. If you like what I'm doing, if you follow me already on LinkedIn or anywhere else and you like what I'm doing, please don't hesitate to go and like and follow me on LinkedIn or any other social media, because that really helps me out. I've made it my full-time job to be a future historian, as I call it. So not a futurist so much. I guess I am a futurist, but future historian is a term that I like, because what I do is I look at history and then I look where the trends are leading us in the future, right? And I hope that helps people, because my only goal is to help people understand what world we live in and where we're going. Having said that, let's dive into this. She asked me some questions in relation to the future of language education and our ability to acquire new languages. How can AI have an impact on that? So her first question is, to what extent can AI be used in learning a new language? I'm going to answer this question not just in terms of what is possible today, but I'm going to answer it in terms of what I think will be possible in the very near future. So if you're trying to learn a language today, you can already, of course, you can open ChatGPT Plus if you have a paid subscription, and you can find a custom GPT that will help you with translation or even to teach you a language. These models, there are several options available. You can go and check it out yourself. And basically, they will operate in the sense that you talk to it and it will ask you questions and it will then tell you how to say something. The problem there is that current AI models, pronunciation in languages other than native English are not always so great. I talk to ChatGPT every day, all the time, and I also speak Dutch with her, but her Dutch pronunciation sometimes leaves a little to be desired, because there's a kind of American twang in there, right? And of course, if we're trying to learn a language, one of the most important things we can do is to learn and pronounce that language correctly in the way it is pronounced in the country where it's from, by its natives, because that really helps with making sure that you're properly understood and taken serious. Of course, that's not so easy, but even if we cannot do it properly ourselves, we should always strive to have a teacher that, of course, doesn't make those mistakes. And of course, if artificial intelligence is not answering the questions with the right kind of accent, that's not good for us learning a new language. However, an argument can be made that it's already possible to learn new languages relatively cheaply from artificial intelligence like ChatGPT Plus in a way that, is very cheap and very effective and tailored towards your particular needs. But these custom GPTs, although they can do this, they were not necessarily built for that. So here's my projection for the next 6 to 12 months. Within 6 to 12 months, I guarantee you that we will see apps on the App Store, whether it be iPhone or Android, or available on desktop, that will be able to teach us any given language, basically any language in the world. There will be some exceptions, really complicated or remote languages, but basically anything else you will be able to learn from these AIs. Not just that, these AIs will be able to engage with you in the same manner as a human teacher could. They will be able to listen to you, listen to your pronunciation, and then correct you specifically on your mistakes, right? So no longer will we have the kind of language learning that we're used to from traditional learning if we wanted to do it on ourselves. For example, the Pimsleur method method, which is something you can download on Audible, and you basically repeat what they tell you. You repeat it. They say it again. You repeat it again. And that way you learn by doing, but there's no one that can actually help you by giving you direct feedback on what you're doing, right? But with this new type of AI, these large language models, within 6 to 12 months, we'll see apps that will be able to listen to what you're saying and then specifically correct you. And you will be able to ask them questions on specific things that you want to do. You'll even be able to go to a country and you will be able to walk around and then speak, have it recorded if you want to. And then you can, that evening, you can have a chat with your AI and you say, well, look, today I had all these conversations. We recorded them because you're wearing a necklace. For example, there's a necklace being released that records your conversations all day long. And then you can say, look, where did I make mistakes and what should I do better? So in terms of, can AI be used in learning new languages? Yes, it can be. Already can be. And I think over the next 6 to 12 months, we'll see a plethora of products being released that will basically act as our personal customized tutors that understand our specific needs, that can listen to us, talk to us, and engage with us to help us to more quickly pick up new languages. So that's question 1. Secondly, how important are nuances in different language registers, such as business language and street slang for AI models? Well, they're really not that important. I think, again, here, these models are really clever, right? So not only will they be able to kind of differentiate from one language to another, because it's not something the models are trained for. Like, for those, many of you that are watching this or listening to this might understand this, but for those of you that don't, AI large language models like GPT-4 and Gemini, they're not being taught a language. Nobody's teaching them a language. Right? They basically get fed the data and eventually they learn how they can decipher language. That's what happens. It's an emergent ability, an emergent property. It's like a kid growing up that suddenly learns to speak a language. The difference is that these models do it much faster. You take 3 to 6 months to train a model, and in 3 to 6 months, this model, based on the data that it's been fed, basically knows every language in the world, or most of them. And it comes down to really subtle mistakes or differences by the end of it. And those differences, those mistakes are getting less and less to the point where these models are basically better at any language than any human, right? So, and this is going really rapidly. So how important are nuances in different language registers such as business language and street slang for AI models? They're not important for AI models. But I can tell you that these tools I spoke about earlier, these language training apps, within 6 to 12 months, not only will they will probably first just be able to teach you a language. But I guarantee you, in a year and a half from now, the same tool, the same AI tool that you can download to learn any language, and you ask it, you want to learn German, for example. Then if you say, I want to learn business German, it will teach you business German, and it will specifically alter its understanding of language to fit that specific need. There's no limitation there. Absolutely no reason to expect that there will be a problem and that will offer specific niche opportunities for human teachers still to be in the loop. I'm sorry about that, but it just won't. So I hope that wasn't what you're hoping for, but yeah, there's no impact there. Question number 3. What is the impact of cultural differences on the effectiveness of AI in language acquisition? So again, this question is a little open to interpretation. If you're asking, is there a cultural differences that have an impact on the AI in terms of learning the language? No. Is there an impact for us humans? Yes, because learning a language is not just about understanding the language, it's also about understanding the culture. Basically, what AI is capable of doing, and it's extremely good at that, it's able to differentiate or understand from the pattern of the data which word in one language correlates with the same word that's close enough to it in another language, and thereby providing us with translation. But it doesn't pick up necessarily on the small and subtle differences that might be something that a human can now understand that's not entirely true. Let me correct myself. I think that at some level, the AI is aware that if it translates the word gezellig, for example, in Dutch to the word cozy in English, that is not exactly the same word. And I even think that if you would ask AI about it, and this is something we could actually try out right now, but I'm not going to do that, but you can go and try it out. And I recommend if you do that, use ChatGPT Plus, not a free version, or use Gemini Pro, or use Claude 2.1, but don't use any of the cheap, shitty versions. But ask it what's the difference between cozy and gezellig. I am pretty sure that we'll come up with an answer. I'm pretty sure that it will have some understanding of what the difference is. However, when you're using these tools to learn a new language, it might not always make you aware of these small, subtle differences because it's just trying to teach you the language. However, as I said in the first answer to the first question, I believe that we will have tools available that will be able to interact with us directly. And so in a year from now, if you're learning German through an app and you ask that app, well, I learned this German word for this Dutch word, but I have the feeling that they're not exactly the same thing, then it will probably be able to answer that question for you and help you understand the subtle differences. So again, what is the impact of cultural differences on effectiveness of AI in language acquisition? I think they're going to be negligible. Wonderful word, negligible. I think they're not going to be very important. And I think that even if AI is not capable of understanding these very subtle differences, then it still won't matter because it will be able to teach you the language to such a level of proficiency that you will very quickly understand those differences yourself and find out how they impact your language use. So, let's see. That was question number 3. Question number 4. How essential are linguistic differences for the performance of an AI model? How essential are linguistic differences for the performance of an AI model? They're not. It doesn't matter at all. I think the important thing to realize here is that these AI models are not being trained to learn a language. They're basically being fed an incredible amount of data, and they learn to see patterns in that data. And once they understand the patterns, they are capable of seeing the same pattern in different data sets. And that's a simplification, but that's the best I can do to explain it. And so ultimately, linguistic differences don't matter. Basically, the AI holds in its kind of imagination 2 models of the 2 languages that you're trying to translate. It will say, look, here's German and here's English, and it is a 3-dimensional cloud, and each word in the cloud represents a location or a coordinate. And I can say, well, this coordinate in that cloud corresponds with this coordinate in the cloud of English between German and English, and therefore these 2 words are the same. And it's far more complicated than that, but that basically is what it comes down to. So linguistic differences doesn't matter. It's all part of the calculation. It's all part of the model. Final question. What innovations in the field of second language acquisition can we expect in the near future? Well, I think I've already answered that question. I think on the one hand, what we're going to see is that the acquisition of a second language will become less necessary because a lot of what we're doing today will be done by AI. Samsung, of course, has already released Samsung's new Galaxy AI on their phones, meaning that you can have a conversation with somebody in Chinese if you don't speak that language, and the phone will automatically real-time translate what they're saying, and they will translate whatever you're saying in your own native language to Chinese back and forth. That technology will be rolled out much broader in this year. That means that for many use cases, now you can go anywhere without speaking a language and you'll be able to communicate with these people. AI will do the heavy lifting for you. Having said that, I think there is tremendous value in learning other languages because other languages are a portal into other cultures. They are a portal into other perspectives and to other ways of seeing the world. And therefore, learning a language is also an active way of training your own model, your own brain, right? Your own intelligence. And it drives your brain to create new neural pathways, etc., etc. So there's a real value in learning another language. However, the necessity to do it, because if you don't, you won't be able to communicate, that will be a lot less over the next year to come. So I think that on the one hand, we'll see an explosion of AI apps and tools that allow you to quickly learn new languages from a personal customized tutor. And on the other hand, I think that the need for people to actually actively learn new languages to be able to get through life in foreign countries or when they're on holidays will be a lot less. And so the need for learning a new language might actually go down, even though the possibilities and the way of doing it might be exponentially more easy and accessible and cheaper for people. How that will play out, I can't say, but I do guarantee that within 1 year, we'll see a lot of new kind of language learning tools, or even, already established players in the market, like Babbel is a tool like that in the Netherlands. These will either be upgraded with AI or they will be basically surpassed and blown out of the market by tools that do integrate these kind of custom-made AI tutors. Cool. I hope that answered all your questions, Lieselotte, and I hope it's going to be useful for the other people that watch it when I put this on LinkedIn. That's it for now. Mr. Metaverse signing off, and like they say in the Netherlands, see you later. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow. See you in the next one.